Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. It is August 15th, and I'm going to call this meeting of the Laramie City Council to order. If you would like, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Is that on your side? On?
It is. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Gabriel.
Here.
Newman.
Here.
O'Doherty.
Here.
Pierce.
Here.
Richardson. Here. Shumway.
Here.
Somerville.
Here.
Cumby.
Here.
Harrington.
Here.
That's 9 present and 0 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. We'll move on to public comment on non-agenda items. Any member of the public who wishes to speak to the council on any item not on our agenda this evening is welcome to come forward or raise your hand if you're on Zoom. You will have 3 minutes. Seeing none, we're going to close the public comment period and move to the Vice Mayor for the setting of the agenda.
Thank you. I move that the agenda be set as submitted.
Second.
Motion by Cumby, second by Newman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the agenda is set. Council members, we're going to move on to proclamations and the rest of that, public hearings, notifications, and I'm going to begin with a proclamation for Never Give Up Day. Whereas the City of Laramie, Wyoming proudly joins community members in celebrating Never Give Up Day on Friday, August 18, 2023. Whereas Never Give Up Day seeks to inspire community members to persevere and remember that even in hard times, they can keep going and accomplish their goals. Whereas Never Give Up Day is focused on cultivating a mindset of determination to help people get through difficult challenges. Whereas Never Give Up Day offers an opportunity to recognize outstanding achievements by individuals facing their challenges with grit and determination. Whereas Never Give Up Day remains relevant for healthcare providing organizations, associations, and charities in their efforts to establish a call to action and fundraising activities. Whereas the City of Laramie, Wyoming recognizes Never Give Up Day and its positive influence for people across our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Brian Harrington, acting as Mayor and President of the governing body of the City of Laramie, do hereby proclaim August 18, 2023 as Never Give Up Day, and call upon all citizens of Laramie, Wyoming to make this day a springboard for awareness-raising activities. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the seal of the City of Laramie this 15th day of August 2023. And council members, we have Elaine Horowitz here to join us on Zoom. And Elaine, the floor is yours if you have something you'd like to share with the council. If you are speaking, Elaine, we do not hear you because you're on mute.
Hello.
Perfect. We can hear you now. Or we heard you for a moment.
Hello.
There you are. We hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your city support. You are among 100 cities that proclaimed Never Give Up Day this year. It's a fantastic thing. I wrote some words for you today, and I will read them for you. So, Never Give Up Day. Finally, a day where people are encouraged to never give up on anything that can go a day without thinking about. Never Give Up Day makes you feel good about who you are and what you do, especially when you do something that is very difficult to achieve. August 18, today's Never Give Up Day. This day is a good motivation to feel proud of your achievements. No one else but you can recognize the bridges that you've climbed, the battles that you've won, and the examples that you have set. Only you can see the person that you have become. It ultimately comes down to you. You are your biggest source of inspiration. And just like any other special day, your perseverance must be celebrated on a particular day each year. Reward yourself on a day that matters most. You have earned it. Giving up? I don't think so. Happy Never Give Up Day.
Thank you for that. We sure appreciate you joining us this evening.
Thank you very much.
Mayor,
Please.
I have a question.
Councilor Gabriel.
Yes.
Please.
Mr. Horowitz, could I ask you a question about, are you familiar with Don't Give Up, Don't Ever Give Up by former Jim Valvano, basketball coach at North Carolina State? His speech before the SB group?
No, I'm not.
Okay. I was wondering if it was tied together because it has the same flavor, don't give up, don't ever give up. And he gave an emotional speech to this group when he was fighting cancer. And so many people remember that. I was just wondering if this was tied together.
It's a great question, Councilor Gabriel. I sure appreciate it. All right, council members, we're going to move on then to, we have no public hearings, so we're going to move to announcements. And just before I turn this over to the city manager by way of an announcement, because it's not on our list of scheduled meetings, just as a note, tomorrow at 5 p.m. we will meet to interview candidates for the municipal judge. So everybody is aware. Those folks will attend via Zoom, I believe, but we can attend in person or Zoom, whatever works. All right, and city manager, to you then.
Mayor, thank you. We have a couple announcements tonight. Two out of one, first the Assistant City Manager's office, and then out of the police department.
Assistant city manager, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Apologies, Your Mayor. I sent Nancy a late email to post for today.
No problem, Assistant City Manager. This is the quietest my world has been for some time. I'm kind of enjoying it.
Honorable Mayor and Council, it's a pleasure to be here tonight to tell you a little bit about our energy initiatives, our energy conservation initiatives. I had sent an email out earlier today, and what I wanted to provide everybody in the public tonight is that we're releasing 2 projects that meet the council goals for positive impacts to our carbon emissions and our energy conservation efforts. We're releasing 2 projects that came in under budget. One's at the rec center and one's at the ice center, and they're interior lighting upgrades. We utilized the WattSmart project, the WattSmart program from Rocky Mountain Power to help with these projects, and that's what really made them come in under budget. The recreation center project itself was roughly about $38,000 in cost, but the way that we're handling the incentives these days is they pay that directly to the contractor, so that actually brings it under budget for the next fiscal year for us. It's also going to save us about $3,300 in the first year. So if you think about the savings to the budget in the first year of $4,600 in rebate incentive, and then $3,300, we got a roughly $8,900 savings to the budget, and we're going to have a nice improvement to a project that's going to improve lighting and save energy for many, many years. The payback on the recreation center project is 10.4 years, and we will far exceed that with this lighting systems that are coming in. The second project, the Ice and Event Center, was roughly, I think it was a $28,000 project. Might have been a little bit more than that, $29,000, I can't read it. We get a $5,000 incentive. That one was over budget too, but the way the incentive works, we're not spending that much of our budget. We're actually going to have some funds remaining to do other improvements at the Ice and the Rec Center. We also have a $3,200 estimated annual savings, so again, another $8,900 in savings. But if you look at the energy consumption as you look at it, we've got, roughly 47,000 and 43,000 kilowatt hours saved per year, or 7.6 and 7.2 kilowatts saved per month, I believe is what it is, on those projects. And they're just exciting projects to get out the door that meet the goals and what you see as far as council goals have been set up. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Assistant City Manager. Councilor Doherty.
My back-of-the-envelope calculation, it looks like it's roughly what we're getting from the solar panels, that savings, the per year kilowatt hours. And so, so saving a watt is more efficient. And so we're really grateful that you explored this and are going to make this happen. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilor Doherty. One thing I don't want to neglect to mention is that we couldn't do this without our partner, Rocky Mountain Power, WattSmart, Fremont Electric being willing to work with the incentives the way they've been doing it, and then our facilities maintenance manager, Kevin McIntyre, have really pulled this project up. I'm just the one that gets to come and tell you all about it. They've done all the work, so thank you.
Thank you, Assistant City Manager. Chief Brown, welcome.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, council members. I just wanted to extend another invitation to you and the public. Tomorrow, August 16th, we'll be having another swearing-in ceremony. It'll be 2 new officers who start the academy on August 21st, so we'll have them sworn in tomorrow. And then on August 23rd, we'll have another swearing ceremony for a lateral officer who'll be coming to our organization from New Hampshire. So we're looking forward to swearing him in. We'll also have some life-saving awards on the 23rd. So you're encouraged and invited to attend, as is the public. So thank you.
Chief, what time is that tomorrow?
Tomorrow is at 1100 hours or 11 o'clock.
Thank you.
And
thank you for translating, though. It's pretty direct this time.
Yeah. The 23rd will be at 1 o'clock.
Thank you. City Manager, any other? Okay. And then monthly staff recognitions.
Thank you very much. Mayor, it is my pleasure this evening to talk to you about our Employee of the Month, or our rock star of the month, as we like to say, and that is our city clerk, Nancy Bartholomew. Nancy has been with the city for a number of years and in previous positions prior to becoming the city clerk. She's been in this position for about 5 years now, a little over 5 years, I think, and we're just really blessed to have her as a member of our team. She was nominated by Assistant City Manager Todd Fieser. He's saying that she's been working very hard to encourage and brighten people's days. Nancy's worked to try to expand some of the offerings under the city's wellness program for staff. She's also really good at impromptu acts of kindness. So she's kind of the heart of our organization. One thing I wanted to celebrate in terms of the work that Nancy's done is she has spent the last number of years acquiring her certified municipal clerk, or her certified municipal clerk certification. I guess that's redundant, isn't it? But in any case, for the public and for you, that is a lot of work. It's not a simple matter. This took 4 years for her to get. It included classes through the Wyoming Association of Municipalities Clerks and Treasurers Association, and then also through the University of Wisconsin Green Bay. What that certification does is allow these folks to work with the National Association of Parliamentarians. It's a long process. It makes her certified to give you good advice in this meeting about how to conduct a well-run, fair, and transparent meeting for the public. I'd also like to mention that I said to Nancy a couple years ago something about, boy, I wish we had more time to get information together, like little brochures and booklets and things like that that would just be informative to the public on a variety of issues. And she just ran with that. And her office has created a whole bunch of brochures and public information over the last few years on things like the rental housing ordinance. So I appreciate the initiative that she's shown. Nancy has 2 daughters. One's going to be at UW this fall, one at the high school, going to be leading the marching band, and we're just blessed to have her part of our team and a member of our community. And I guess I'll give Todd a chance, since you nominated her, to say anything if you'd like to.
Thanks, Janine. You know, I'm one of the few people that gets lucky enough to work with Nancy every day. And if you don't get to have that touch with her, she brings the same care, compassion, fire, and excitement to the job every day. And it's just, it's amazing. It's a joy to work with her. If you've met Jake and Mercedes and Grace, they are fantastic people to be around and fun to be part of. And we're just blessed to have her with us and appreciate everything she does for us and our community.
Thank you both. And Nancy, you are the point person for most council contact, right? Like, you have to talk to us every day. So, you know, I think those sentiments are shared by all of these council members and every council member I have ever had a chance to work with. So we sincerely appreciate what you're doing. Yeah. Please, City Manager.
Mayor, I also wanted to take just a second, as you know, to recognize some of our seasonal or temporary or part-time employees that are not with us full-time, but are really critical to a smooth operation here at the city. This month, we recognized a number of folks out of the Aquatics Division nominated by Wendy Clubb, who's over that section. Madison Campbell was recognized for bringing a positive attitude to work and willingness to help out whenever she's needed. Misha Urista was recognized for bringing a positive attitude and vigilantly watching over swimmers in her area and keeping them safe. And then finally, thank yous to Taylor Saunders, Hank Shaver, Kevin Montez, and David Phillips for their quick responses to keep swimmers safe at our recreational pools. So we appreciate those folks and thrilled to have them with us. I don't know if we have any of them here this evening. I don't think so. But thank you for the opportunity to just highlight the good work that they're doing. The lifeguard positions are critical to our operations, as you know, and they've been very difficult to fill those positions. So with the short staffing that we have, these folks really carry a heavy burden and do great work. Thank you.
Thank you, Assistant City Manager. Council members, are there any disclosures this evening? Okay, seeing none, we will move to the Vice Mayor for approval of the consent agenda.
Thank you. I move that the consent agenda be approved and that each specific action on the consent agenda be approved as indicated.
Second.
Motion by Cumby, second by Pierce. City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. The consent agenda has been approved. We'll move on to item 11. Councilor Pierce, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I move to approve Resolution 2023-63, authorizing the submission of a Wyoming Water Development Level 3 construction grant and loan application for the Dowland Diversion Rehabilitation and Fish Passage Project, and approve, and asking the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion by Pierce, second by Cumby. Mr. Smith, please. Welcome.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, Jay Smith with the City Manager's Office. I won't belabor the point about the need for this project for Resolution 2023-63. The title's pretty self-evident. Submit an application for construction, which it sounds like the council's been waiting for a while for this. And I think just to sum up the need, I will quote Councilor Pierce from the July 18th meeting. It's in really, really bad shape. So I think that kind of...
Mr. Smith, you had the same inflection.
So I'll just dig into a little bit of the nuts and bolts of this resolution and the application, just to kind of give a quick overview. What we have is a 50% grant and a 50% loan from the Wyoming Water Development Commission. And the grant is pretty self-explanatory. You know, we're going to ask for that money. The loan, though, from the level 2 recommendation, they said that WWC Engineering, their recommendation was that to take the loan and then look for additional grant funding from the Wyoming, I'm going to mess this up, so don't judge me, the Wyoming Wildlife Natural Resource Trust Fund, the NRCS, the Bureau of Reclamation, the Wyoming Game and Fish, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Laramie River Conservation District, and I'm sure there's some that I'm missing, multiple funding opportunities to refund that loan 6 months after substantial completion. There is $75,000 budgeted for this project, but the city's cost share could increase to $250,000, depending on what grants we do pick up. So with that, I guess I should tell you the total cost of the project, huh? We'll keep that hidden. $2.359 million is the total cost. So we would be looking at a grant of $1,179,500, and then a loan of that same amount, with the hope that we get enough funding to cover the majority of that. But again, our maximum cost share could move up to $250,000, roughly 10% of the total project cost. And based on the recommendations and discussions with WWC Engineering, the consultant for that level 2, they have quite a bit of experience in this realm with funding and going after these grants. They feel confident in those numbers that the $250,000 would be essentially the city's worst case scenario. So, and with that, I would stand for questions from.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Council members, any questions? Councilor Doherty, please.
I just want to wave my fish mug and talk about that. I think this is supposed to improve the access, that fish would now be able to move another 27 miles. Was that it on the Laramie River? And 20-something miles?
Plus.
Okay, so I'm in favor of this because it's really important. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Doherty. Any other questions, council members?
If I could just also.
Please, Councilor Bishop.
Yeah, to piggyback on Councilor Doherty, it's a different type of fish that's going to be able to move as well, because it has to do with size. So we're going to add a lot of different fish types to what can move. Smaller fish, as well as probably medium-ish. I don't know. But yeah, so that's a really good point.
Mr. Mayor.
Please.
Much like the councilors have pointed out, the fish habitat and the fish mobility through the stream will be greatly increased based on this. There's also the opportunity of portage and boater passage through there. And then just the overall idea of actually being able to maximize the city's water rights and doing it efficiently and being able to measure that. And this will, I mean, because this year, for example, the river dropped, and it's hard for someone, the ranch supervisor, to be out there Saturday night at 12:30 and say, oh, it dropped. I definitely need to go and turn off the pivot or something like that. So this will greatly increase efficiency in operation, fish habitat, and recreation opportunities. So overall, it's a fantastic project.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. And not to mention sort of the safety of staff members out there turning the, yeah. All right, council members, any other questions? Seeing none, we will go to the public on this item. If there's any member of the public that wishes to speak to the council on this item, please raise your hand on Zoom or come forward if you are in the room. Seeing none, we will close the public comment period. Back to the council for any comments before the vote. Okay. City Clerk, you can call the roll, please.
Pierce.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. Item 12, Councilor Richardson.
Thank you. I move that council approve the submission of a grant agreement for FAA's Airport Improvement Grant Project number 03-5-0017-048-2023 for an ARFF truck by Laramie Regional Airport in the amount of $927,963 and authorize the mayor and city attorney to sign.
Second.
Motion by Richardson, second by Newman. Ms. Terrell.
Your Honor, council members, thank you for having me tonight. What we're presenting today, presenting for approval, is our ARF, which is an airport rescue firefighting piece of equipment. Every year, the airport gets AIP money, which is it's the Airport Improvement Program. And if we have 10,000 employments a year, we get $1 million. That money goes into what we call as a slush fund to fund all of these different projects throughout the year. And we plan out about 6 years as to what's coming. I can tell you next we have a LED runway light project coming. We know what's constantly coming, and these are things we spend a lot of time working with our engineers, the FAA, and the state to get approval for and get them on the list. An ARF truck, a firefighting truck, should last at the airport there. The lifespan is 10 to 12 years. So 2 years ago when I got to the airport, one of the recommendations from our inspector was to get a new ARF truck. Ours was 16 years old at that time. So now it's a little over 17 years old. So it's time for us to get a new truck. So we moved this purchase up further and kind of messed with some of our projects. We pushed a different project back and brought this one forward. So the total cost of the truck is $968,968.48. We're asking for the federal portion of the money. We are asking that you guys approve us signing that grant. And that federal portion is for $927,963. The state will be putting forward $29,369.05. And the airport will be putting forward $19,579.37. All of our line personnel at the airport are dually trained, so not do they just fuel aircraft and run the airport as the commercial service, but they are also trained as firefighters on the airport. So this is a big operation we have here at the airport. It makes it possible for us to take diversions and for us to have commercial service. Without the airport, or without the fire truck, we cannot have commercial service at that airport. So, any questions?
Council members? Councilor Gabriel, please.
Yes.
I was wondering, is there any, since this is a joint powers board, is there any participation from the county?
Yeah, so I just presented at the county. Their meeting's at 6 o'clock. So I was over there at 6 o'clock. They just approved, they approved having our board chair sign this grant. They will sign for her approval, and then I'm here asking the city as well. So we would need, the FAA wants approval from both entities, the city and the county. And then tomorrow we have a board meeting where I will present it for approval if both the city and county approve this.
Councilor O'Doherty, please.
I have a point of information. Would you introduce our guest, please?
Councilor O'Doherty Shore. Yes, Amy Terrell is the director of the Laramie Regional Airport, and it's great to have you here.
Yes, I apologize. I should have done that when I stepped up here.
No, I should have done that. No problem.
I could have too.
Council members, any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we will go to the public on this item. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this grant application? If so, raise your hand on Zoom or come forward in the room. Okay, seeing none, we will close the public comment period. Council members, any comments before the vote? Thank you, Ms. Terrell. City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Richardson.
Yes.
Somerville. Somerville.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 noes, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. Item 13, Vice Mayor Cumby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council accept the amendment to the Memorandum of Understanding between Albany County School District Number 1 and the City of Laramie, Wyoming for school resource officers and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion by Cumby, second by Richardson. Chief Brown, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. The amendment that you have before you is an amendment to our original MOU with the Albany County School District Number 1. For the past several years, they've been funding a portion of our school resource officer program at approximately $150,000 a year. Due to some budget issues that they've come across, a deficit of approximately $2.3 to $3 million, they were actually looking at potentially canceling the school resource program that they had, or canceling the funding for the school resource program. So we had an opportunity to meet with the superintendent, the city manager, myself, and some other school district officials, and we came to an agreement. They asked that we would cover 50% of the fees this year, and they agreed to continue paying for this 1 year only. $75,000, we would pick up the other $75,000, and the purpose of that is hopefully so that they can balance their budget. So they're working to balance their budget, and hopefully at the end of this year we can go back to the original agreement of the MOU where they're going to fund $150,000. Just for your knowledge, an officer with salary and burden is approximately $86,000 per year. So even at the $150,000 mark, the city is still paying a significant portion. The total of that, I believe, would be about $258,000 for 3 officers. So the city was still covering over $100,000 of that. And what that gets you for our officers is 3 officers in the schools, 1 at the high school, 1 at the middle school, and 1 at our 9 elementary schools. And just to give you a sampling size of some of the phenomenal work our officers have done in the school over the last year or two, this school year specifically, our detectives have investigated over 17 cases involving, that originated from the schools involving sexual assaults or child abuse. 3 of those cases ended up with the FBI. We had over 453 traffic stops in our school zones and before and after school. We had approximately 112 cases investigated originating from the schools, 183 calls for service, 321 check-ins at the schools by our officers at various times, and another 183 calls for service. And to keep in mind, the school in Wyoming requires 175 days of school per year. So those are pretty astronomical numbers for 3 officers in our school districts. They do phenomenal work. And with that, I see the value in a school resource officer program, and it really does go to the Laramie Police Department's philosophy of establishing a strong community policing program. And there is actually an averted school council that was funded by the Department of Justice through the COPS office. And I'd like to take a second just to kind of read their findings. And what the Averted School Council does is they look at all of the school shootings that have either occurred or have been averted due to various reasons since Parkland happened in 2012. And there were approximately 230 different incidents that they have looked at. 170 of those have been averted, and 60 of those have actually occurred. And the president of the foundation kind of synopsized his findings and the importance of community policing, and he wrote, "In the end, efforts to prevent school attacks must be a whole community effort in which school administrators, teachers, staff, school-based and community mental health providers, law enforcement, and parents and students see something, say something, and do something to identify and extend resources to students in need of our help before they hurt themselves or hurt others." And once again, I just emphasize that whole community effort. The school district agreed with that, and they're working with us, and we're working with them to help during their financial times. So our request tonight is simply to assist our partners in their time of need. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I'm going to go to the city manager before questions from council, please.
Mayor, just tacking on to that, with respect to the city picking up really half of that burden this year that we had expected not to have to provide, but as the chief said, we want to provide to be a partner to the school district as they kind of struggle through their budget balancing effort. And speaking with Jen Wade, she and I both agree that we have sufficient additional revenue this year to pick that up. This will not require a future budget amendment because it's not an amendment or a change to expenditure, but in fact is a change in revenue. So we will make the proper notation in the budget. But you should know that when you did approve the budget in June, you were expecting $150,000 payment from the school district. We'll just adjust that down to 75 to offset our share. 75,000, that is. I think you knew that, right?
Thank you, City Manager. Councilor Doherty, please.
Chief Brown, the sexual assault things, it sounds like that's more of kids are probably afraid of shootings because that's what's in the news, but if you're getting sexual assault calls in our schools, pretty sick to my stomach about that. Do your resource officers train kids about, like, what's permission and that kind of stuff, so that kids can wise up about what is sexual assault?
Through you, Mayor. So yes, we do. We actually had an opportunity this last school year to put on a presentation at the high school that was specific to sexual-related advance issues and also sexting issues. What we're seeing with the majority of our sex-related crimes at this time is sending inappropriate juvenile images over the internet. And we're seeing a large increase in individuals from different countries requesting these images. And what they're doing is they're really doing their work on social media and finding ways to kind of force these kids to send these images, and then when they do that, they request money to release the images. So we've been working very closely with our federal partners in Cheyenne and in Denver to help us with this situation. And we did provide a presentation at the high school last year. Assistant Chief Terry sat in with our federal partners. They had a roundtable, and there's also a sexting video that we shared with the high school. And we actually showed the whole video in the gym. So it was a good opportunity for us to partner with the high school, partner with the school partners and our federal partners to educate our community.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And I think to your point, Councilor Doherty, and maybe expanding beyond that, when you hear those statistics about how many traffic stops are occurring, I mean, if you've driven on Boulder Drive at 3:30, you can understand the importance of that monitoring. Councilor Richardson, please.
Thanks for the presentation. I just have a quick question out of curiosity. Is there a different sort of training that these school resource officers go through to kind of be alert and aware of the youth behaviors that differ from adult?
Through you, Mayor? Yes, there is. So we actually just sent our newest school resource officer, Kyle Gross, and as part of our changes to the program, we actually have a new sergeant, our administrative sergeant, who's overseeing our school resource officer program. So we just sent both of them to a 2-week training class in Bozeman, Montana, specific to school resource officers. You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilor Richardson. Council members, any other questions? Chief, in the school board meeting, when this topic was discussed, one of the things that, so I guess I would start by saying I appreciate the effort to help the school board in this situation. One thing that flagged for me is the general sense that the conversation wasn't necessarily so much about the funding piece of it. It became very quickly like a policy discussion about whether school resource officers should exist or not, and whether we should have them in our school. And in a lot of ways that felt a little bit frustrating to me, because it was the first, I know many of the school board members personally, it was the first I had heard about this conversation. And I can understand the need to cut things out of their budget, and they were thinking about, cutting downhill skiing and things like that. I can understand those tough decisions. But, I think this effort is appreciated doubly for me, because I think it allows them the space to have a policy discussion. If they want to have a policy discussion, it allows them that space. It gives them a year where this is funded, and it helps aid their budget, so that they can have, without the pressure of a budget cut, they can have this discussion if they want to, in a little more thoughtful way, and rather than just sort of airing it out, without us in the room to have that conversation, without the chief in the room. And so for a few reasons that frustrated me, but I just thought that was worth noting. I don't know if any of you read the reporting or watched the meeting, but it surprised me, and I didn't think we had an opportunity to participate in that conversation. So I appreciate the chief and the city manager staying in this conversation in good faith with the school district to make sure that we can keep providing these services to the school district. Councilor Gabriel, please.
Thanks, Mayor. I remember one of the school board members, in following that discussion, talked about just what you mentioned, whether or not there's really a need, and the studies suggest that maybe there's not a real need for the SROs anymore. And so it kind of grabbed my attention, and I'm kind of wondering, Chief, if the city did not step up, do you think we would still have SROs in the district? Or is that something maybe you don't want to talk about? I'm just curious about the funding and and the willingness of the city to engage and cooperate and help the school
Sure.
district.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I will say this. I think it's important as the chief of police, and I think the city manager would agree, that our job is also to provide information and education to our partners and to let them know what we're doing. Oftentimes, as an administrator, I don't necessarily know what's going on the street, so I have to reach out to my sergeants, my lieutenants, to get that information. And I kind of look at this I kind of use that analogy for this situation also, is it's our job to make sure that the school district, the board members understand exactly what's happening in the schools, and I think some of these statistics do that. So I think us having that conversation and initiating that conversation definitely gave them the information they needed to remain an active participant in our partnership. Once again, I would like to point yourselves, the school board and the public, to the Averted School Violence Database. It was published in 2021. It's continually updating. It's through the COPS office from the U.S. Department of Justice, and it really mirrors the 21st century policing model that was put out by President Barack Obama and his administration, and it emphasizes the community policing model and the need for us to be active in our community. And we're here for the school board. We're here to have those conversations. We want our school resource officer program to reflect the needs of the school district, and we want our officers in the schools to be able to respond when they need to, not just in a violent situation, but also in any situation that they need to be there for the schools. And that's really what a partnership is. So to answer your question, I don't know. I would hope that they would reach out to us and have those conversations. We did reach out to them first, and we were able to come to an agreement.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other questions, council members? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go to the public on this item. If there's any member of the public that wishes to speak to the council, please raise your hand if you are on Zoom. Judy Snoke has her hand up. You see that, City Manager, or City Clerk? Thank you. Judy, the floor is yours. Welcome. And Judy, if you were talking now, you are on mute and we cannot hear you.
Okay.
There you are.
There I am. I have two questions actually for the chief. One, or maybe for the council. How many years have we had school resource officers in the schools, and have they been primarily at the high school and the junior high school? Are there any at the elementary schools? That's my question.
Chief, if you're, we don't typically take questions, but if you're interested, I think that is a worthwhile question if you happen to have an answer.
Sure. Through you, Mr. Mayor, I know that this current MOU was signed in 2021. I know that we've had the school resource officers program for at least 6 years. And for the last 2 years since this was signed, we have had 3 school resource officers. One has been dedicated primarily to elementary schools. That is a big ask for them. So they do rely heavily on some of our new training officers. Last year, all of our new training officers went to some of the elementary schools and gave stranger danger presentations. It was a good opportunity for them to engage the community and also expand on some of their communication skills. So we do rely also on our patrol officers, and then our second school resource officer is primarily at the middle school, and our third school resource officer is primarily at the high school. I can tell you that is subject to change. Last year we had an incident with a few turtles that had come up on social media, and there were some concerned parents at the middle school. It got pretty big and blew up pretty sizably. So we ended up spending a significant amount of manpower hours at the middle school for about a 3-week period, including several investigative hours. So it's really subject to change. We try to be flexible and meet the needs of our community and school district.
Thank you.
Mayor, I would just add that I can speak from my own experience that we've had the SRO program, and I know for certain 100% for at least 15 years. It's my understanding that it actually goes back probably a decade or two plus those 15 years. So it's been a long-standing, probably at least 25-year program.
Thanks, Chair. And thank you for your question, Judy. Sure appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. That's what I suspected, but I just wanted validation.
Perfect. Any other members of the public wish to speak to the council on this item? Okay. Seeing none, council members, any comments before the vote? Councilor Newman, please.
Chief, just if you would pass on some thanks to those officers. It sounds like they're running around and pretty busy. So if you would just pass that on from probably all of us.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Richardson.
I also just want to express appreciation for the training. From the little that I have read about school resource officers and that things can go south in terms of incarceration if things aren't handled well and police officers don't have the training that's needed, I appreciate that's being implemented. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other comments, council members? Okay, thank you, Chief. City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Somerville,
Yes.
Shumway,
Yes.
Richardson,
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Cumby,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. Council will move on to public comments. Any member of the public wish to speak to the council, please go ahead and come forward or raise your hand on Zoom. Seeing none, we will close the public comment period and move on to consideration of future council work session topics. Any topics, council members? Last chance? Okay, we will move on to item 16, Councilor Pierce.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I move that we adjourn to executive session regarding litigation, Wyoming Statute 16-4-405, lowercase a, Roman numeral 3.
Second.
Motion by Pierce, second by Newman. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Okay, council members, we are adjourned to executive session.